This video is the Clickology for assignment in weather and climate. On the right is the spreadsheet as a link that I've opened, and then on the left it's then been downloaded. And you should see the same thing when you do that as well. You might see a pop-up or something that says enable editing, and you'll want to do so. First thing, there's three what's called segments or parts to this assignment. The first one is finding a location and identifying its coordinates. The second will be then filling out the table with data, and then third, making a line graph and then analyzing that line graph. The first part, relatively simple, is identifying our location. We can choose anywhere in Indiana. So let's go ahead and choose somewhere of our own choosing. This is, once again, it's going to be different for every single student. I do not want you doing the exact same one as I am. Alright, I'm going to go to a place kind of cool up here, St. Patrick's County Park, in which, if you look at it, the trees actually say so. What's the actual location of that? So that says down here, which I want to go ahead and put in there, 41.76. Of course, you're going to do that for your location. You're not going to use the same one as me. Alright, and then it says negative. And all that means, as far as the negative, is we're in the Western Hemisphere. Negative 86 point, well, we'll do 27. We'll round up. So that's our location. So it's going to be important for doing the rest of this assignment. So we've identified our exact location, our lat and long coordinates. Once again, going back to something earlier in the semester. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Earth Newell School map. And this is going to show you the current time. We're going to have to go back in time, but we're going to have to also find our particular location. So we can zoom in. We know relatively where Indiana is, or we should. So we kind of can identify the Great Lakes and all of that. So that'll help us get us to our relative location. But to get to our absolute location, we'll just have to kind of start clicking around. So what's my number over here? 41.76, and this is kind of that game of warmer, warmer, colder, colder. If you have children, you might know this game. Or if you have a fun significant other. 86.27. So I've got the 41.76. I just need to go a little bit more over. And I'm sorry that I'm narrating this, but this is the process. And I've landed. I finally got my place, in which I have a same 41.76, 86.27. Boom. Alright, so now we've got our locations. So now let's go ahead and find our data. So to do that, very important, you want to click inside. You don't want to touch the map anymore. You don't want to touch the inside of the map. You want to just touch this, from now on, the captions. And you'll probably want to expand your screen, but I'm just doing this because it's easier to go back and forth as far as adding data when I have this split screen. First thing is to make sure surface is our height. And to find our stuff, we've got temp, which will be our air temp, dew point, and RH, relative humidity. Go up to our calendar. We can go back in time and start off with our date of October 6th at noon. So go back in time. So here's our calendar, which again, I went to this calendar here. Go back to the 6th, hit OK. And we've got 5 o'clock local. I need noon local, right? 12 o'clock local. Whoop, a little too far. So I was just moving these buttons there. That's all I'm doing. This one I can go in 8-hour increments, so it helps me when I'm moving along quickly to go from one to the next. Temp. Okay, so if I go ahead and click on temp, keep in mind 41.76, our lat and long should be the same. And our temp at noon local, October 6th, at this location, 24.7 degrees. Our dew point, I highly suggest doing them all at once in terms of going across. That way you're not having to go back, click, 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 and all of that. And just doing them all at once here. So our dew point is at 15.5. And the relative humidity is a percentage, and that's 57. I now need to go to midnight, so I'm going to go advanced 8 hours. And then 1, 2, 3. should be all zeros. And at that time, our relative humidity is 92%. Wow, big increase. Dew point, 17.4 degrees Celsius, which, I get it doesn't really matter for us since we are Fahrenheit users, but when we make our chart and we make our inferences, the patterns will still nonetheless be the same. Alright, and so that's midnight, October 7th for this given location. I'm not going to narrate my whole entire chart being filled out, and I highly encourage you to follow this particular pattern and system as you complete this more tedious part of the assignment. Alright, it took me about 5 minutes. You could probably beat that time if you're paying more attention than I was, but it took me 5 minutes to fill out the table, so I hope it wasn't too tedious. Alright, now let's take this data and let's graph it. I want you to highlight all of the data, not the Latin long and not the notes and all of that. All of the data. Just highlight it one big box. Go up to Insert. You'll see this Insert line or chart. Let's go ahead and do the very first one. Let's go ahead and expand this now. Alright, we can do very quick edits to this to get it to look how I want it to look. Fortunately, most of it's done for us. I like how the dates are down here. We've got temperature over there, but this green line is the problem, relative humidity. So what I want to do is I want to add another axis. So we have over here an axis that shows data. I want data over here that's just specific to relative humidity. So go ahead and click on, in this case, the green for me, but the relative humidity line. Go ahead and click on it, right click, Format Data Series, and then click Secondary Axis. Boom, there it is. Next, go to the plus sign and add axis titles. And then you'll want to then change them. And this I just double clicked in the box. RH parentheses percentage, and then over here we have temperature and we are in degrees Celsius. And then down here, dates. Chart title, whatever your location might be, you could use that lat long. In my case, I'll do St. Patrick's Park, and we're October 6th to October 12th. 2025 weather data. Alright, so that's something that you'll then want to, you can then edit, make that look cute, however you want. And then that's what you'll then analyze. So then you will submit this, you'll go ahead and right click it, save as picture, and that's what you'll then submit to me, that image. And then you'll also then, of course, include your analysis of this particular graph and what does it mean based on applying concepts discussed in the lecture.